In general, Passover is described as kind of a birth. There's the story of the birth of Moses, and then the labor pains of the Egyptian plagues and the tearing open of the Red Sea. What's the connection? Why is it described as birth? Because birth is something that happens inside this core called Egypt. That by the scrutiny, by these scrutinizations, where we're thinking, how can we nonetheless get along with our nature? Eventually, we see that we can't. We can't cope with it, and we have to escape it, rise above it. To escape means to rise above it. A birth is a very essential change. It's an even greater change. I'll tell you what the change is about. All of those habits, all of the forms of relations, all of the education which we had before, suppose in Babylon, when we came to Abraham, to his tent, and we started being together, as a result of his education, we got completely different habits, attitude towards each other, the way we look at life, everything through the glasses of connection. And that's birth. It's simply a new person that comes out of me. Were I to meet who I was before that, compared to who I am today, after I got Abraham's education, I connected with everyone and I relate to myself, the family, the people, life, the world. Only through this, these are two completely different people that don't understand each other. Utterly different. One is a slave and the other is free of his own nature, where he is in a different nature, a nature of love instead of the nature of hatred. There's something interesting that happens on this Hagadá. Yeah, exactly. Your last sentence, you said that there's a person who's a slave and a person who's free. If I understand what you're saying, you are relating to this story of the Haggadah, aside from speaking about it as something that happened in the past, you're all the time giving examples from our life today. What the fathers did is a sign for the sons. So, suppose when I sit with my family or Tal with hers and we read the story, I have to look for myself there today? Of course, of course. It says so that a person has to see himself every day as if he came out of Egypt. Okay, so I understand this the direction, so let's scrutinize something. I really wanted to scrutinize the matter of slavery. You're saying that a person has two statuses that he could be in life. Either he's a slave or he's free. That was your last sentence. Free of his ego. It's not that he's free and he can do whatever he feels like. So before the free part, I want to understand, what is the status of the slave? Where a person lives like a slave, what is that? A slave, that's a very high degree. A slave, it's the attainment that I'm in my egoistic nature and that this nature is controlling me and I can't get out of it even if I wanna. I can't. I don't understand. Today I have to relate to myself. When you now go out to the street, look through the window at your neighbor. You come to work. You're driving on the road. You see how you behave. I'm trying to be good as much as I can. Good. After a few minutes, you're starting to be like this, like that. Why did he cut me off now? I'm not gonna let him back in, right? Depends. Depends doesn't depend. Depends on your ego, the extent to which it bursts out in you today or doesn't. Depends only on that. Meaning, education, Abraham's education, was first of all about teaching a person the forces that are controlling him, that are controlling the person. And he explained, look, what's now controlling you? What kind of thoughts are awakening in you now? It's not simply yours. It comes from nature. What kind of desires, What kind of attitude towards others? How do you compare these with those with these? Everything according to your ego. It's self-examination. Yeah, it's looking at, yeah, it's self-recognition. Who am I? What am I? What's controlling me? How am I controlled? Until I start seeing that I'm operated by the evil force. Evil why? Because this force is constantly positioning me against others. Ah, he bought this, he did that, he's like this, he's like that, he's more successful, I won't give him, and so on. Compare that with your attitude towards your child. How would you treat every other person if they were your relatives that you love them, your kids?